Good morning and welcome to our daily morning trade setup. That's all that you need to know to get a fair idea of how the Indian markets will open each day. I'm Niraj Shah and let's get straight to it. The US markets had a good outing in trade, and that's the result of this. One, Joe Biden has staged a comeback, and I think for a lot of people this is very important because he's quite unlike what a socialist candidate would be on the Democrat side, and as a result of which that got the US markets up and excited. We'll talk to Seth Freeman a bit later on our 8:30 segment about the importance of this, and there was a stimulus approved, all of which led a very strong move on all the three indices, all the three major indices in the US markets, which is the Dow, S&P and the Nasdaq. So good going really. Remember, the US services sector data also was pretty positive. And keep in mind, the other thing that's happening in the US markets is that the hopes from the Fed for further action keeps on continuing, as a result of which you see the steepening of this, the inversion of the yield curve, and this spike that you're seeing. That's the highest that we've seen in a long time, because the expectation of a more aggressive Fed is actually sending the front end of the curve lower and the yield curve getting inverted. So you got to keep that at the back of your mind when you're looking at the US markets. Now, because of what the US markets did and what IMF has done as well, they have committed and allocated about $50 billion to fight coronavirus. Asia too is starting off reasonably okay, you would have to say. 0.5% up for Shanghai, Hang Seng up about 0.5%, and Nikkei about 0.77%. However, the SGX Nifty fails to do that. There is a bit of a concern, I think, in the Indian market watchers, maybe because of the rising cases of coronavirus, maybe because of the belief that if the rupees continue to depreciate, then foreign investors will have to make a beeline or will have to take a call on whether they want to battle through that. So all of that is leading to a bit of a downtick in the SGX Nifty in today's session as well. Let's see if this changes. I think if there is supposed to be a bounce, if there is one, I think the bounce will depend predominantly on heavyweights. We haven't seen the kind of rally that you would expect from a Reliance, from HDFC Bank, from sentiment heavy weights as well, the likes of Kotak, Bajaj Finance, etc. Those stocks are languishing right now, and as a result of which the bounce or the extent of the bounce today might depend on heavyweights. Keep in mind, I do think that the rupee sensitives would continue to remain under pressure. On the flip side, of course, the likes of pharma, IT might continue to gain, but watch out for the importers. That might be a bit of a problem as well. Fund flows continue to be negative. FIs sell off another 878 crores, and that's essentially what I said is the key problem. A lot of passive money which might have come in through the ETF route might also make its way out, so you've got to keep that at the back of your mind. I think two things to watch out for today and tomorrow. One, the OPEC meet outcome, and while demand has fallen off the cliff, if OPEC does some decisions which leads to crude higher, then that could be an important monitorable. And of course, the final subscription numbers for SBI cards. This issue is an important one because it's a large one, and if that gets heavily subscribed, it might just do the sentiment a bit of good. Today is the last day. It's already been subscribed quite well from the QIB side, which has ended yesterday. Be important to see what the HNI and the retail piece does today. So watch out for this one. And then watch out for specific stocks. Today, I think I've chosen all large names because those are the ones that I think are in focus. Now, yesterday, in the dying moments of trade, we anyways got the statements around Bharti Airtel being asked to pay up the entire set of AGR dues and not just what they have said. Government has asked the companies to pay up what the court had said, which is nearly double, I think, of what Bharti has deposited thus far. Vodafone the thing around Vodafone came out post-market hours yesterday, so do watch out for Bharti Airtel and Vodafone. And Reliance had a bit of a spurt when this news about Bharti Airtel came out, so maybe watch out for that as well. The other one, again, a heavyweight. I mean, one, the government coming to the rescue and they're saying that they've detached these companies from the AGR dues payment. So GAIL, Oil India, Power Grid, all of which are active, could well be in focus today. And I would watch out for HDFC Bank. It's a very important stock. It's a heavyweight. It's been languishing. They've reconstituted the MD search committee and Renu Karnat steps in there. But mind you, I think enough and more people have spoken about how the valuations for HDFC Bank are trading at levels which they have not traded in the last 7 or 8 years. And therefore, HDFC Bank and what it does in the near term could well be a very important determining factor. So do watch out for this stock as well in the session today. That's all that I believe you should watch out for in terms of trade today. Have a good profitable trading day ahead.